Hey everyone, welcome back to 12 Happy Hens. Today is the day when we are integrating the new chicks, who are not so little anymore, that's them right there, into the existing flock of chickens right here. Oh, and ducks, can't forget about the ducks. This is the last one of the new ones. I'm just holding her, and today we're just adding them into the flock. The day when you add new chickens into an existing flock is always interesting, to say the least, because they're new, they don't know the ropes, they don't belong to the flock yet, and unfortunately the existing flock is a little rough usually. This white one is one of the older ones. These ones coming in here are taking a look at the new arrivals. It's actually not super aggressive right now by chicken standards. Usually it's a lot rougher. Oh, like that. And unfortunately that's just part of chicken society. The older ones are pretty rough to the new ones for the first week at least. I would say the first couple days are probably the worst, and there's a reason the term pecking order is created. The newer ones are picked on for a while by the older ones, and eventually they'll become part of the flock. The rest of these birds were all new ones once, but have assimilated pretty nicely. For today, it's probably going to be a lot of those pecks for no reason, and the new ones are going to figure it out. But that's the reason that I waited until they were about 3 months old to put them in here, because if you try it too early and they're too little, that can be really bad for the new ones. But at 3 months, like they are right now, actually they're about 2 months and 3 weeks, so just under 3 months. But at this age they're big enough, so getting those kind of pecks from the existing adults isn't going to kill them or anything. But they'll find their place soon enough. But usually, as I said, it's a lot worse than this, and I think part of the reason that it's gone better for them so far anyways is because as they were growing up, they had a lot of exposure to the older ones when they were kind of out in the yard, meeting the older ones face to face, and there was plenty of space for everybody. So even though there's still some of this, it's honestly not bad by chicken standards. But there's different ways to mix flocks of chickens, and I know that there are a number of folks who would say that the best way is to do it at night when there's a flock of basically sleeping chickens, and so they wake up with these new chickens already there. And there's people who do it other ways besides that. I personally like to do it during the day, so that everybody's out in the yard, and there's plenty of space for the new ones to get away like there is here, and they can kind of have their own space and find their feet a little bit without being kind of trapped in a confined area like the chicken coop overnight. Not that this pen isn't confined right now, but it's a lot bigger. And then ideally I'd love to let the big ones out in the yard, but I just don't have the time to do that today. I mean, by that I mean open the gate and let them out into the grass, and kind of give the little ones the lay of the land. They can have the pen to themselves and the coop to themselves for a little while, but that's not in the cards for me today. Right now though, it seems like everyone's pretty content to just kind of leave the little ones alone. I'm not sure if that's just because I'm here. It could be, or because they're more familiar with them, like I mentioned, or maybe they're just kind of busy with other things, eating, drinking, that sort of thing. But it's one of these situations where it'll be rough, and the tendency for me anyways is to want to kind of be back here and break up a lot of that before it gets out of hand. But over the years, it's a reality I've just had to come to terms with, and kind of accept that it's going to be rough, and the only way for it to get better is to kind of let it play out, as cruel as that might sound. But eventually it will play out, and these ones will be accepted as part of the flock. As I mentioned, every single chicken and duck you're seeing here was new once, and that same thing happened, and well, as you can see now, there aren't the same issues that you just saw with the new ones. So I promise you it does get better. but it is kind of a shock the first time you see it, because you get used to seeing your flock of chickens be peaceful and quiet the way they are right now, and then you see them kind of turn into different creatures when they see new birds that they don't recognize. And a large part of that is just that this is the space that in their minds belongs to the adults, and chickens get very territorial about their home space, shall we say. This is where it may get a little rougher, because they're kind of trapped in a corner right now, and it's going to be a little harder for them to get away, so they'll probably figure out that that's not the best place for them. But for right now, I mean, they've had plenty of food and water. I made sure of that leading up to it, so they're okay for a little while they kind of figure out where the new feeder and waterer are back here. Well, that was a little aggressive, but this white one seems to be okay with just those kind of mock charges. But I think that she may be one of the more peaceful ones. She was a new one herself last year. Not that I really think that matters in her mind, but I think that it is interesting to kind of see the behavior of ones who are new fairly recently and then kind of are introduced to birds even newer than themselves. Sometimes they're the worst ones and they're super aggressive, like that. And sometimes they could care less. But I think for the moment, all the fireworks may be out of the way, and these new ones may kind of have a chance to slip in quietly and not be attacked mercilessly by the flock, which would certainly be a bonus and a rarity. But that's probably too much to hope for. It may very well be that they're just kind of saving the theatrics for a time when I'm not in this pen and they kind of have a free run of the place. But for right now, I think I've kind of done all I can back here, and we've moved these new ones into their new home, and I'm just gonna hope for the best. They'll grow up here and they'll start laying eggs in about 3 months. But just for anyone who's curious, this breed, this kind of gray and black striped breed, is a barred rock. The tan one right there is a buff Orpington. The gray one, the light gray, is a lavender Orpington, and then the black one is a black Australorp. So she'll grow up to kind of have that same, I'm not sure if you can see it, but her feathers kind of have this green sheen on them almost. And we have one of her breed already, but it's always nice to have more than one. But for right now, they're getting a little more adventurous, which is good. I kind of feel comfortable back here, and I mean, like I said, it's not necessarily going to be the most fun day of their lives, but it's one of those things that as soon as they get on with it, that'll kind of start the process. So I'm glad to see they're kind of moving around more now. But that's all I've got for today, and I'll see you next time. Be sure to subscribe.